Calhoun loved mornings when the veil of darkness lifted, especially in the spring, but even now in the coming of winter the birds kept up a constant chatter. In the early morning the animals would rise and stretch their legs. The whole country came alive in the mornings. As the grayness descended from the sky and began to slip all around, Calhoun started to pack his gear. But he had an uneasy feeling. The horse remained alert, his ears cocked back like the hammer on a gun, his nostrils taut. And then Calhoun realized that there were no birds singing nearby. He might have put it down to the lateness of the season. Many birds drifted to warmer environs, but even so, plenty of winter birds remained in the area, and it was uncommon to hear no birds at first light. Neither did he hear squirrels or other small animals. He'd set his hatchet down beside his makeshift shelter while he packed his gear, and now he reached out for it. The two things happened at once. Calhoun's fingertips felt the tiny beads on the leather-bound handle of his hatchet, just as he heard an almighty rush through the brush behind him. The horse gave out a cry, and the mule stomped its hind legs. He knew what it was by instinct. A lynx or a cougar. One. A big cat had stalked his camp through the night. Now, crouched low to gather his gear from the shelter of spruce boughs, he'd presented an opportunity to the cat. Calhoun's right hand grasped the handle of the hatchet. He spun to his left, raising his left arm to protect his head just as the cat leapt. He caught the full weight of the cat, 100-pound mountain lion, and tumbled backwards into the shelter. The heavy bearskin coat is what saved him. The sharp claws grabbed Calhoun's back and caught his right arm as the lion's jaws set on his left forearm. Though he felt the strength in those claws and in the jaw, the coat, for now, had protected him from serious injury. Together, hunter and prey tumbled into the shelter, knocking down the boughs as if they were no more than cloth. They tumbled one over the other and ended with the cat on top of Moses Calhoun. The cougar's jaw was locked on his left arm, and one heavy foot pressed into his chest, but tumbling through the shelter the way they had left the cat unsteady. Calhoun swung with his right. The heavy metal ball on the backside of his hatchet smashed hard into the cougar's head. Moses felt the jaw clench tighter on his arm, but he felt the heavy claw on his chest release some of its pressure. He didn't try for a second heavy blow. Instead, he flicked his wrist for a fast, sharp blow that smacked the mountain lion in its head a second time. Calhoun pulled his arm closer to him, the lion's face coming so close he could feel the heavy breath from its nostrils against his own face. As he pulled his arm toward himself, the lion pulled against, its jaws so tight that he thought it might break his forearm. Now, with all his force, he flung himself into the great cat, throwing himself the way the cat was pulling so that the man and lion were both going in the same direction. The cat toppled, and now Moses was free. He found himself on his hands and knees now, instead of his back. The cat, startled to find its prey unexpectedly free, raised up a paw to swipe at him. Calhoun threw a protecting arm over his head and caught the full force of the cat's big paw against his shoulder. It knocked him a terrible blow, but he did not collapse to his stomach. Now Calhoun swung hard with the hatchet, this time catching the big cat in its side with the blade. The lion sprang backwards. Stunned and a bit rattled, Moses Calhoun jumped to his feet. He spread his arms wide to make himself big, raising the hatchet up high over his head. "I am Takaten Toya Toko!" Calhoun shouted at the lion. "Takaten Toya Toko!" He shook his arms and took a step toward the mountain lion. The cat snarled, and though well out of reach, swung a vicious claw into the air. "Takaten Toya Toko!" Moses shouted again, the hatchet poised above him, ready to strike a fatal blow. Then it retreated into the brush. A cold chill ran through Moses Calhoun. He was drenched in sweat, and not from exertion. Calhoun knew of many men who had fallen prey to a grizzly or black bear. He'd heard of mountain lions killing children, but only a few times. He had never heard of a grown man being killed by a cougar, but something about the attack of a mountain lion gripped him with fear.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.